Hi, I'm Lisa Curcio, and I would love to welcome you here to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm going to teach you how to make easy gift card holders for the holidays that will take you just minutes. The best part about tonight's project is I'm going to be able to show it to you in several different formats. And I'm going to throw in a really easy technique on that third card so that you can learn some new things along the way. As always, you're going to be able to find a free project sheet linked down in the video description below. That's going to lead you over to pictures, cutting dimensions, and the supplies for all the projects I'm going to share with you this evening. And I would like to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative. With over 2,000 classes and 20 different categories, there's literally something for everyone. Whether you like to bake, sew, knit, quilt, or even like me, papercraft, there are classes for you there. Every single class is taught by a professional instructor with step-by-step instructions that are easy to follow. With the holidays quickly approaching, I knew I wanted a simple decor idea that didn't cost me a whole lot of money. So to Craftsy I went. Guess what? I found a great way for me to use all that leftover scrapbook paper to make an adorable and simple Thanksgiving banner. Craftsy is a great place for you to connect with other makers just like yourself. And if you like live streaming, they've got you covered there as well. In addition to being able to interact with the instructor, you're able to interact with the other people during the live stream, ask questions, and be able to create a great community. And Craftsy is providing a great offer. For the first 1,000 of you to click the link down in the video description below, they're going to give you a 1-year premium membership for just $1.49. I know, amazing. Whether you're looking for a new craft or hobby, or perhaps you just want to learn more about the one you already have, Craftsy is the place to go. Once again, thank you, Craftsy, for sponsoring today's video. With me in the live chat tonight, you'll see that beautiful name in blue, Gina Curcio Hawley. Gina is my daughter. She does work with me here at Lisa's Stamp Studio and an avid stamper for decades. We are here to answer your questions live. We would love to have you interact with us. In order to chat or leave a comment, YouTube does require that you log into your YouTube account using your Gmail address. So please go ahead and do that now. We would love to chat with you. I'd like to give a big shout out to all of our YouTube channel members. You'll notice them because they have a crown in front of their name in the live chat and comments. They have supported Lisa's Stamp Studio and our endeavors here, and I would love to have you join us as well. For just 99 cents a month, you're going to be able to get a custom badge for your name, custom emojis that we have designed, and you'll have the opportunity to purchase exclusive merchandise that we have designed as well. You'll find all the information by clicking the join button on the home page of my YouTube channel when you're logged into your desktop or laptop computer. We would love to have you with us. All right, we're ready. Let's go ahead and let's get started on today's project. We're going to start by doing some very simple score lines. The first one is going to be at 2.5 inches. Now this is 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. I absolutely love it because it includes both the cutting and the scoring blades. They navigate up and down out of the way. There's a straight ledge here at the top, also one at the bottom, which means everything's going to be nice and straight. Make sure that cardstock is aligned to that top ledge. And at 2.5 inches, we are going to score with the light blade. We're going to open up the extendable arm, which goes just past 17 inches, perfect if you're a scrapbooker. And now we're going to come over to 6.5 inches. Make sure that top edge is nice and straight, and we're going to score again. Now we're going to come in with our bone folder, and we're going to go over those crease lines, and we're going to talk about decorating it so that this bone fold will open properly. This is the bottom one that we just did. I'm going to line those edges here and here and make sure that they look good. Then here is the top one, and we're going to fold that down. So the top half of this card is going to be a little longer than the bottom half, as you'll see here. Now I've got all kinds of ideas for you today on decorating them. I'm going to use a piece of designer series paper for the top half, and this is the beauty of Stampin' Up's color coordination because this paper actually comes from a package called Sentimental Christmas. The package is full of nostalgic images, as you can see, all double-sided, but I love that I can mix and match it with other designer series papers, and that'll make more sense in a minute. I'm going to flip that over to what's going to be my wrong side. I'm going to bring in my precision glue press. I'm going to come right real close to those corners. Love this tool. I have basal joint arthritis in my hands. It's very difficult for me to squeeze. That is super easy. In addition to that, it's going to guarantee that I only get out a little bit of glue at a time so I don't have a mess. That was my biggest problem with liquid glue over the years, is I was squeezing too much out and I had it everywhere. Now here at the bottom, different designer series paper package, but look at the color coordination. This one is called Iconic Celebrations, and there's everything you can think of in there, and I absolutely love it. It's a 6x6 package, lots of varied shapes and colors so that you can use this all year round. This one's going to go here. So you're going to see me open it up on my silicone craft sheet just to make it easier for my hand. I'm aligning both the left and the right side to create that nice little margin all the way around. Now that we have the base of the card, we're going to eventually create a pocket for the gift card, but we're also going to work on the decorating of this card so that we can create the right focal point for the closure. I decided I wanted to use the Light the Year bundle, which is the stamp set and the coordinating dies. Now you can buy them separately. Bundles will save you 10%, and quite frankly, you're going to want the dies that go with the stamp. It makes our lives so much easier. I went ahead and I pulled out the large lantern. You're going to see that it's pretty sizable. So for me, with my arthritis, I really struggle with getting a good impression, and this is where I decided to bring in my mini Misty stamp positioning tool. Now this comes in a full-size version as well, which is great for those large background stamps or larger detailed floral images, for example. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my cardstock here in the lower corner. That's going to guarantee I've got great placement. I'm going to use the very strong single magnet that comes with it, and I'm going to place my image face down on the paper where I want it. I'm going to close the hinge, and it's going to pick up the photopolymer stamp. You're going to notice that the photopolymer is sticky and may lift the cardstock. That's normal. Just make sure that you just reposition it back in the corner. Once you have this positioned here on the plate, you can make multiple images, one after the other. But here's the most important part for me. Because I can't press very hard with my hands, sometimes I have to stamp it more than once. You'll see that I'm inking it face up right here on the platform, which is nice and straight. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that magnet is not in my way. Place that down here, and because it's difficult for me to press, I love to use this little pressure tool. Now I have the Misty, the precision glue press I just showed you, and this pressure tool all linked for you on my website under Shop, My Favorite Things, and then Craft Room Favorites. Now this actually looks really, really good. The stamp is designed to look distressed, so don't think that that's a mistake when you have light and dark areas. I've got a microfiber cloth here that's slightly damp, and I'm just going to clean off the stamp. I always clean my stamps before I put them away because I never want to muddy up my ink pad. The next thing I want to do is I want to stamp the candle inside, and for this I'm going to use Pretty Peacock ink. I love the contrast of these two colors, and again, it makes it look really nostalgic. So there's a candle image here. It's very small, and I've had no trouble getting it inside of here because it's photopolymer. So I've just inked that up, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that here. This next step is going to require that you let any stamping you do inside of here dry, because you don't want to spread or bleed or blend the ink more than you want, because we're going to add some color behind here. Now you can use a Stampin' Blends marker if you'd like and color the inside panes, but in my case I am going to use the Lemon Lolly ink because I wanted kind of a muted halo look from the candle. Now I've got a sponge dauber here. I do have one for each of the Stampin' Up! Colors because I do so much stamping. But I want to give you a tip about this. If you can just get a few, you can use one tiny drop of soap and water and rinse out your dauber. Make sure it runs clean by using it on scratch paper. There will be some pigment left here on the sponge dauber from the ink pads, but as long as it runs clear, you are good to go. Now, since there's a die for this, I'm not going to need to use the whole thing. So once I ink up my sponge dauber, I'm actually going to dab off some of that ink here because I want to be able to control the coverage. And I'm going to use a light hand because I don't want to muddy up the candle with this yellow. Now here on these other sides, I found that if I just simply tipped the dauber inside the ink pad, rubbed off a little excess because I want to be able to control it, I'm able to get inside those panes very, very well. Remember, you can always add more ink. You can't take it away. And I'm going to do the same thing now on this side. As I mentioned, there is a coordinating die for this, but if you're like me, you are worried about it slipping all over the place and not getting a perfect alignment for that. And this is where the Post-it labeling and cover-up tape is going to be your best friend. It's sold on a roll. One roll lasts me about a year. You can even cut these and rip these even smaller if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line this up perfectly where I want it. Now the secret is to make sure that you attach it from the image over the die onto the cardstock. Now when I have a sizable image, I'm very, very careful to make sure that I anchor it in two places because I'm going to pick it up now and take it to my die cutting machine. Now once it's die cut, it's going to look like this, and I don't throw these pieces of tape away. You can actually use each piece about 6 times before it's weathered. You can leave it here or the handle of your machine. I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet once again. Liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to it, which means I'm going to keep my work table nice and clean and sticky free. I decided this needed a little oomph. So I looked through my artillery of stamps, and that's something I want to encourage you to do. You've bought them, use them together. You'll also find that Stampin' Up! Stamps and dies coordinate beautifully with each other. I wanted to add some pine needles to this. So I looked through my dies and I found the Winterly Treetops dies, really abundant. There's birds, there's a beautiful pine frame, but there are a couple separate pine needles here, and I thought, perfect. I grabbed those, and I did do that die cutting ahead of time. And I die cut 4 of them here. Since I had 2 dies, I could actually pass this through the machine just twice, and it was quick and easy. I always like to lay out my pieces first. So I'm using my Take Your Pick tool here. It has a putty end, which is going to allow me to navigate these smaller pieces a lot easier. But I also knew that maybe whatever I put here might not cover this. So I grabbed my paper snips and I literally just chopped off the ends. This is a quick tip for you, especially if you think something's going to show, but this is where that precision glue press is going to come into play. Now here's one of the reasons I absolutely love it. You'll see that there's a pink plunger or stopper here inside the bottom of the case. The needle tip of the glue press comes into contact with it, which means it's not going to clog. You can leave this on your work surface like this, no problem. Now for any extended period of time, you're going to go ahead and take that beautiful decorative needle cap and you're going to twist that on top of here. Now I've gotten some questions about this. You'll see that there's a skin on top of the needle, and that is purposeful because that's going to indicate to you that you have gotten an airtight seal and that the glue is not going to plug the needle. So simply just pull it off and it's going to flow beautifully. So I've got one of my needles here. I'm just going to flip that upside down. I'm going to add a little bit of my precision glue press. Love that it comes out so nice and thin. And then this I'm going to navigate here to the top. And I want my needles to kind of come down a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and use the other one as well. For those of you that hate these little tiny detail pieces to handle with arthritis, I get it. I love these tiny precision little reversible tweezers. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of glue and show you how they work. I've got these linked for you as well on my website under Shop My Favorite Things. Now these last ones, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to cut these off, but I decided that I wanted these pieces to go towards the back. So before I go too far, I needed to decide how this was going to get mounted so it would work on what will eventually be the flap to this card. Before we work on placing the flap for the closure, let's go ahead and let's close this up. Simply open up the bottom portion, which is the smaller of the 2 pieces. And for this, I'm going to use tear and tape. Tear and tape is super duper strong. So go ahead and use it, place it right near the edge, use your fingernail, and then just rip. It's nice and simple to use. I'm going to do the exact same thing here, and I'm going to rip. Make sure that you burnish the back of the tape into the paper, because now I'm going to use the paper piercing tool attachment on my Take Your Pick tool to help me remove that paper backing to reveal the other side. So we've got one here and another on this side as well. Now it's just a matter of closing it. When you close it, make sure that your ends are nicely aligned to create that pocket, and then just press. Because the cardstock is going to be tight, here's a little trick for you. Take your bone folder and place it inside the pocket and run it back and forth. Now the tip of my bone folder is coming down near here to the bottom, and you can rotate the bone folder if you'd like. But what that's going to do is you're going to see that it's going to condition the cardstock and loosen up the pocket. And this is one reason why I love tear and tape, because it's going to hold up to that stress of conditioning the paper. Let's go ahead and let's close this. And again, we're going to create something to hold this lantern. I looked through all of my dies and quite honestly, the possibilities are endless. But I went for one of my go-to favorites. This is Spotlight on Nature. And I love it because there's cascading sizes of different design circles. And look how many that you get. Now the one I chose is the second largest from this pattern here, and it's about 3 inches wide. Keep in mind you can use anything that you'd like. I'm bringing back in the silicone craft sheet. Now I did the die cutting ahead of time just to save a little bit of time in the video. But I die cut one from vellum. Now Stampin' Up! No longer sells vellum, but I love vellum, so I have it linked for you on my website as well. This is the vellum that I use, and I found the quality to be superior. I also die cut one of the same designer series paper we used here at the bottom. We're going to put these together. But I also die cut another one from white, and that'll make sense in just a minute. So let's put these two together. Now, one thing about vellum, you've got to be very, very careful because when it dries, it will be visible from the front. Now, if you choose to offset these circles, which means you're not going to align these up perfectly, you can shift them just a little bit to the right, and you'll have what looks like a dotted border all the way around. However you choose to do this, it's not wrong. Once I have my edges aligned the very best that I can, I'm going to give it a press in the middle. I know my lantern's going to go here, so I'm not worried that this is going to show. I'm coming back here to the gift card holder. I'm going to use one of my clear blocks just to kind of hold that flap down, just to make it easier for my hand. This piece is going to go here. Now, if you're persnickety like me and you want all the angles to be the same, you're going to want to make sure that you do that before you start adhering it. So you can see here that my angles are going this direction for the bold lines. So if you want these to go the same, be cognizant of that. I'm looking for about the same space here and here for a shape of this size. The reason I die cut the extra white piece is because when this opens, it was showing me these upside down sideways pumpkins. And it wasn't really part of the theme for my card. So I'm going to take this extra white piece and I am going to add some more of my precision glue right here around the outside edges to hold this in place. Once we have our glue on, it's a matter of just aligning those lines and openings once again. So now we actually have a trio of stacked circles. Coming back here to the card base, I now am going to add dimensionals or adhesive, but you've got to be very cognizant about where you're going to put them. Make sure nothing is going to fall below here, otherwise it will not open. So I'm going to flip this upside down, and I'm grabbing my full-size dimensionals here, and I'm going to work them here and here along the edges. And I'm also going to place one more here a little bit lower. Then we're going to remove those paper backings using the Take Your Pick tool, paper piercing tool attachment. Using my clear block once again to help hold that close, you're going to realign this exactly like you wanted it. When you place the dimensionals down, you're going to need to make sure when you open this, you see no adhesive or dimensionals here. With my block still in place to keep that flap closed, we're going to come back to the lantern. I am going to flip this upside down and I'm going to add a few more dimensionals here for stability. So I want one here near at the top, a couple here on the sides. I am very cognizant to make sure I put enough of these on here that my card is going to lay flat for mailing. The mail meters at the post office have rollers in them that your mail will go through. So if these are not well balanced, your card will come out lopsided on the other end. Working over the center so we can hide any visible glue that was placed there to adhere the vellum, we're going to attach this in place. Now we have our remaining little pieces of pine. So I'm going to flip those over and we're going to add a little bit of that precision glue to the back. Inside my precision glue press, I like to use the Stampin' Up! Multi-Purpose Liquid Glue. I love it because it's strong, it dries quickly. Now we're going to come back and finish off the top here, but let's talk about the insert. As you'll recall, we have a pocket, so there's a couple options you have here. I thought this was rather bland for me, so I'm just going to kind of spruce this up a bit. I'm going to add a little piece of pretty peacock cardstock here underneath the top flap to give this a little color. The easiest way to do that is just to open this up and add a little bit of glue from the glue press here. Use your silicone craft sheet, lay down the strip of cardstock, and all I'm going to do now is look at the outside edges and align this from end to end so that I have a small border of that color showing. Now here from the inside, I thought this was a bit unsightly, so I cut another piece of designer series paper. This is from the same package, Iconic Celebrations. Again, another beautiful pattern here. I'm going to add some more glue around my outside edges. This one is cut a different size than the other panels. I want to make sure that you know that when you're looking at the project sheet that I'm providing for you for free. You'll find that link down in the video description below. We're looking to make sure that it's not all the way over the crease so that this will fold nicely. And then once you have it where you want it, just give that a good press. And then this should shut. Here for the inside, I have a piece of basic white cardstock. I'm going to bring in the pretty peacock ink that coordinates with that colored cardstock. And I've pulled out a sentiment from that stamp set. We're going to ink that up. And because it's photopolymer, it's going to make it easy for us to see. Once you have it where you want it, go ahead and give a good press. I thought that this needed a little stability, so I'm going to add it to a layer of pretty peacock. Wait till you see how beautiful this is when it comes together, and wait till you see the other samples. I'm going to set these aside because we're going to come back and we're going to finish the front. We're almost finished. Using my block to hold that down, I went ahead and I used my bow maker. I've got that linked for you as well, to make a multi-loop bowl. You can go ahead and use liquid glue or you can use a glue dot. I'm going to go ahead and take that bow and I'm going to place the knot on top of the glue dot. Because I don't want to untie it, I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to help me lift it off. Any exposed glue, I'm going to roll to the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this here near the top and press that in place. My final step for the front of this card were these beautiful blooming pearls. You're going to see that you have them in shades of pink, gold, pretty peacock, and of course there's a garden green here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the pretty peacock to coordinate with this card. I'm taking one of the larger ones. I'm going to bring your eye down here on the card. And then I'm going to take a couple smaller ones and I'm going to work them up here. Again, these are nice and easy for you to use because they already have glue dots on the back. Now to finish this card off, we have here our insert, which is going to go right down inside of our pocket. Here is the gift card. It can slide inside. Now you have two options. The reason I like to slide it versus attach it is because it gives me a place to write a separate message or to sign it. However, if you just want to put your names, there's plenty of room for you to put a glue dot here, attach it here, and then everything can go inside the pocket. A super easy gift card holder, but still very, very striking. Let me show you the other ones that I created for you. This next one comes from Filled with Cheer. This is an online exclusive product, so you won't find it in the catalog. I love it because it's so versatile. This actually fits the Filled with Fun dies. So you can go ahead and use the wagon with that. I chose to use the snowman image. For this, I decided to use a tag as the focal point for the front. I used the same concept as this card, but you'll see that I added an extra layer here to play up the white. I colored it with Stampin' Blends markers. I added a little bit of Wink of Stella, some really cute loose snowflake embellishments, added my greeting here where I opted for no external greeting here because I thought it was pretty intuitive that it was Christmas. Added some fun coordinating baker's twine to my real red. And I'm going to open this up, and then again inside, I decided to leave my gift card separate. So I have my card here for the inside of my card, and then of course I have my gift card that will fit inside the pocket. But wait until you see this last one. I stepped things up with this one using Shepherd's Care. Now, if you're looking for quick gift card holders, obviously you can decorate these however you want. You can just create a small square here and a greeting and call it done. But I know that many of you love to create special cards for a few family members. The reason I am in love with the stamp set is because it's not only going to be for Christmas, you can also use it for just encouragement or sympathy as well. And here is the card I created. Did you notice what I did? I changed the orientation of the card from horizontal to vertical. So it allows me to add taller images here. I colored this with Stampin' Blends markers, added some gold foil. On this side, you'll notice there's no layer of gold foil. There's no right or wrong way, but I decided that the gold star really played up the gold enough on this side because I wanted this shepherd to be the focal point. I created some background here using scrap paper and a blending brush. And I'm going to show you how to do that very quickly because it's super easy. But on the inside, now of course, this is going to go in the portrait or vertical mode. I have my insert and of course my gift card. Absolutely beautiful, stunning. But let me show you how I created this background and how easy it is. I've measured out the piece of cardstock that I need, and I'm going to go ahead and use my artboard for this. I love this because I don't have to waste scratch paper. I'm also going to use my low-tack frog tape. So I've got some tape here that I've reused. There's no reason to waste it. I'm just going to ball this up here in the center, and it's going to hold my cardstock. I also love this artboard when I'm doing watercoloring and stenciling. Go to the computer and grab yourself a piece of computer paper. I just cut this one down. And all you're going to do is you're going to rip it in various lengths and in various degrees of depth. We're going to use these pieces to create a very subtle background. I used crumb cake ink. Now, a lot of people like to put their blending brush right inside the ink pad, and I'm not a fan of that because I find that it sucks up way too much ink and it wastes it all the way down here on my bristles. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and create a palette with a clear block. I'm going to bring in a little bit of scratch paper because, again, when you pick up the ink from the block, the intensity might be too strong for you. So I'm going to rub some of it off just to make it a little bit easier for me to control. I'm going to hold the paper here at the bottom, or you can hold here at the top. It does not matter. You can use small blending brushes or full size, whatever works for you. I'm going to work half on the paper, half off the paper. One little tip for you is when you go to move this scrap piece of paper, it's going to look more predominant than it appears. Now you can obviously just switch this around, or you can come into a whole nother piece and then continue. And I mean, this is literally how quick this is. And I'm just going to navigate this. So I've got hills and I've got some valleys. Some will be darker than others. Some will be shallower. And then once I got to the top, I used a different blending brush and I was able to create a little bit of a blue sky. I wasn't worried about actually masking the area. I just went ahead and I just filled it in just a little bit, which is what you're going to see here. I'm hoping this is going to pick up on camera, and I think you can. See the just slight variations of hills and valleys and a little bit of that Lost Lagoon color at the top to represent the sky. It's a very simple technique, but it adds a lot of oomph and texture to your project. We've created a beautiful gift card holder today, and depending on how fancy you want to go, you've got some options here. Will you make yours landscape or will you make yours portrait? And what stamps will you use? And what shapes will you use for your openings? Go ahead and leave me a comment now. Don't forget to grab that free project sheet. Again, it's linked for you down in the video description now. Again, with pictures, cutting dimensions, and supplies for you because I know you're going to want to make some of these. And the best part is you can adapt this to any occasion whatsoever. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, you name it. Anytime you want to give a gift card, cash or check, this is a great, simple, fun fold for you. And if you love fresh ideas, I've got another idea for you. Stamp Studio Memberships is an exclusive program that I have designed, ideas I do not share anywhere else. It is a monthly program. Level 1 is $5 a month, and every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, right to your inbox, you're going to get a brand new tutorial. It includes multiple pictures, cutting dimensions, supplies, and step-by-step instructions. But if that's not enough for you, there's also a level 2. Level 2 is $10 a month, and it includes everything that was in level 1, plus an additional monthly fun fold card. It also includes a discount code for my PDF tutorial library, and everybody in level 2 is entered into a random prize patrol every single month. You can find all the information on my website and the red menu bar titled Memberships. While you're over on my website, scroll to the bottom and fill out that little form and I can add you to my free weekly e-newsletter. It is no frills. I'm going to give you a little extra inspiration every single week and, of course, keep you in the know on everything that's happening here at Lisa's Stamp Studio, including sales and promotions. If this is your first time visiting my channel or perhaps you've not subscribed, we would love to have you subscribe. Click the bell icon and the word all, and YouTube will send you notifications when I provide new content. Finally, if you have enjoyed tonight's video, would you do me a favor and give it a thumbs up here on YouTube, which is a like? It helps me immensely. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.